following program is exclusively produced and distributed by Dick Dinman's Double D Productions, Inc., all rights reserved. Hi, Golden Age film fanatics, and welcome to DVD Classics Corner on the Air. My name is Dick Dinman, and our goal is to become your exclusive guide to the very best of the Golden Age classics coming out on DVD. We'll have reviews, breaking news of upcoming releases, plenty of surprise guests, and a special feature devoted to the great Golden Age film composers, which we call Cinemusic. So let's turn on the marquee and lights, camera, action. It's time for Dick's Picks, in which I get to shine the spotlight on one of my Dick's Picks of the week.
As a young girl raised in the bush country of Australia, Marjorie Lawrence dreamed of the time she would be a great singer. And then one day came the big opportunity, an audition for a scholarship to Paris. It was a tight squeeze, but the impulsive country girl made good and traveled halfway around the world to start her fabulous career. Not since the great Caruso has any motion picture presented the world's most beautiful music as it was meant to be heard. Not since the Stratton story has a life story been portrayed with such heartwarming romance, such emotional honesty. You'll see Lawrence, the brilliant personality, whose golden voice won the hearts of the world. Lawrence, the star, who, at the height of her success on 2 continents, found the man of her heart and had to make a choice. Lawrence, the woman in love, who had everything she could desire. And then suddenly...
If you were just a husband, I would tell you many empty encouragements. But since we are both doctors...
It's all my fault. I helped talk her into this trip.
It's nobody's fault. Look, it just happened, that's all.
How sick am I, Tom? Tell me the truth.
Pretty sick. But you're going to be all right. I promise you that. You're going to be all right.
Am I?
Here is a story that will live forever in your heart. A story of courage.
The rainbow, why then, oh, why can't I?
Stay tuned for more Dick's Picks, coming up on DVD Classics Corner on the Air very soon. There are many reasons why Interrupted Melody, which is now available exclusively at the Warner Archive Collection, is my Dick's Picks of this week. In the first place, it just happens to be a magnificently told, true, Oscar-winning story of renowned operatic diva Marjorie Lawrence and her subsequent battle against polio. Secondly, it features a generous selection of glorious arias brilliantly performed. And thirdly, and most importantly of all, Interrupted Melody is the favorite film of its glamorous and abundantly talented and versatile star, Eleanor Parker, who was Oscar-nominated for a 3rd time for her bravura performance in this stunningly inspirational film. During the course of her 50-plus theatrical film career, Eleanor Parker was leading lady to the likes of Clark Gable, William Holden, Humphrey Bogart, John Garfield, Fred McMurray, Charlton Heston, Stuart Granger, Ronald Reagan, Kirk Douglas, Robert Mitchum, and Frank Sinatra and Errol Flynn twice, and Robert Taylor 3 times. It's really difficult to convey how proud I am that this great lady has consented to reappear on my show for a second time in an exclusive appearance to talk about her very favorite film, Interrupted Melody. When were you first aware that you were up for the part in Interrupted Melody, or were you offered it immediately?
Well, no, I think they'd offered it to somebody else. I'm not sure, probably a couple of people. I really don't know. I think I'd heard they had. That wouldn't matter to me anyway, but when they gave it to me, I said, wonderful. I was thrilled with it.
What's interesting to me is the leading man in
Glenn?
Interrupted Melody is Glenn Ford.
Yes.
Now, Glenn Ford, at that time, I believe his career was very, very much on the downswing.
Right.
And I, frankly, am surprised that he got, suddenly, out of nowhere, this very big MGM film. And I'm equally surprised, frankly, that, considering it's the story of Marjorie Lawrence, who you played, you should have had top billing.
Well, I had it. I did have top billing, but I gave it away because they couldn't find anybody who was good for the part. They were either, I don't know where they were, off at war, they were somewhere, or they were busy or something, I don't know. They didn't have a lot of men to offer it to. And a lot of them wouldn't want it because they didn't have the lead, you know. So, because I had it. And it should have been mine, and was mine if I wanted it. But when they said Glenn Ford would not do it unless he had a top billing, I finally said, look, when the other people they were talking about, I said, that's no good. Glenn is perfect for it. And I thought he was. I thought he was wonderful in it. But he'd been doing just cowboy pictures and everything else, and he needed something. And I didn't know him well at all. I never spoken to him, I don't think. I never met him at that time. But of the people, I thought he was the better actor who was more appropriate for this part than anyone they wanted to get. So I said, so give him first billing. Who cares? It's a dumb thing to do. I really wanted first billing and had it. But I always gave it away if somebody had a fuss, you know. I don't like fusses.
Well, in this particular instance,
of course,
you were the star.
Yes, I know, and I wanted it very badly. I'd done this before with billings, with the men wanted the top part when they shouldn't have had. That's the only one I really cared about, having first billing, and had it and gave it away. But that's like me. I care about the project, you know, and I can't remember now the ones they were even talking about who would take it, and they would not have compared with Glenn.
We pause now for station identification.
DVD Classics Corner on the Air is exclusively produced and released by Dick Dinman's Double D Productions, Inc. All rights reserved. How difficult was it for you to actually learn the operatic passages?
Well, that wasn't difficult because I had the sheet music, and I played the piano when I was a kid, and a violin at one time. I could read music, in other words. I wasn't very good at the piano or the fiddle, the violin, but I did play them a little when I was a child. You know, I had lessons in those things, and I could read music. So I could take the sheet music from the operas that we were using, which were so many, and follow the writing, the where it goes up and down the clefs and what notes they were and all that. Mm-hmm. And then I have a great ear, perfect ear for music, absolutely on pitch. You know, I'm blessed with that. So it was quite, well, when I say it was easy, it was a lot of hard work. I just took, nobody's offered to help me, so I just took the records that Eileen Farrell had made. They used her voice, you know. I guess you do know that Marjorie Lawrence tested for them.
No, I didn't know that.
Well, she did. She tested, and she wanted her voice to be used. And they had to say, Marjorie, I'm sorry, you've lost your voice too much for this part. And she couldn't hit the high notes anymore and stuff. And she wanted it very badly, of course, but it would have ruined the picture for her. And but I can see her wanting them, of course. What happened, the choice was not up to me. That was up to the studio and the music department, I guess. I don't know who chooses all that, but I had nothing to say about that. I'm just telling you what I heard about it all. And Eileen Farrell is a wonderful woman, and she wouldn't take any credit for it. You know, she wouldn't have even put on the picture that the vocals were done by her because she didn't want to insult Marjorie.
You know, to this day, I never knew that Eileen Farrell was the voice of...
Yes, and she's one little piece in the picture. Do you remember the woman? Do you know the picture very well?
Very well.
Well, when I was down in France, I guess it was, and I'm listening to her, a woman take a lesson from this teacher, and I'm listening to and she couldn't hit a high note, and she kept saying, Marjorie, Marjorie, blah, 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 the teacher. And then I went, blah, 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 and hit the note, you know. And she came to the window and said, come up here. Well, the one that was singing who couldn't hit the high note was a small part played by Eileen Farrell. And she'd take the part where she couldn't hit the note. But that was her. Just a brief thing of where she couldn't hit it. She would pick that.
Oh, Louise, stop straining. Your future is secure. You're on top. How many times must I tell you? You cannot force it.
I know, you're right. But one is always afraid.
Well, don't. Relax. Come on, once again. Quite good.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh, a critic. You write your own notices, huh?
No, I didn't mean that. I meant it was just so wonderful to sing a melody again after a whole year of those endless, interminable scales.
You only had to sing them. I had to listen to them.
But I think it was darling of her. She can sing anything. And in any key, she could do the blues. She could do anything. She goes from Wagner to Puccini to, Mozart. She has a wonderful range of that she can use. The voice was wonderful. I loved her so much. She was just dear. She gave of herself and her talents without wanting her name to upstage Marjorie. I thought it was so good of her and so kind. She's such a wonderful person.
As I said, I had no idea. All of these years, I had no idea. I always assumed that it was Marjorie Lawrence singing her own songs.
No, she couldn't sing anymore after the polio. She got it back to quite a bit, but not for that. Not for opera, really. Yes. She'd have to go lower. She just didn't get the high notes back again as she had before. And so, and she couldn't walk. I went with her on the, what was it, Ralph Edwards show?
This Is Your Life.
Your Life. I had to appear for that with her and go out in the evening. I don't remember what we arranged, really. If my husband and I took her out to dinner or said we were taking her out to dinner. The studio made these arrangements, whatever they were. And they made the arrangements, and we went through with whatever they'd planned. They wanted it to be a surprise for them, too. So we, I don't know how we got them into the theater with the back entrance with them not knowing, but nevertheless we did, I think. And had to come in, she had to have a platform that was pushed to, with her on it. Instead of just like a wheelchair or something. She didn't use it because they knew they were going to do this thing. I don't ask me how they managed it because I've forgotten. I just know it was supposed to be a surprise for the audience and everything. I think it was.
Did you get to know Marjorie Lawrence well?
Not well, no, because I was busy working all the time. I was busy learning, trying to be Marjorie Lawrence and her voice. I'd sung everything that was done. I sang in full voice, but an octave lower. Now, they didn't record that because they didn't need to. They had it all done by Eileen Farrell. All I had to do was have the recordings, and I did it one octave lower for myself. And so when I practiced and learned the words, all I had to do was learn where the breathing was, because I had to breathe every breath and know when to take it in and when to let it out, and I followed exactly. So it didn't need any retakes or any pushing around trying to get it to match the mouth. Well, we had not one mistake. We never had one take that they had to do anything to. I'd had it down to a science. And, it's kind of hard when you get to Wagner and things like that. Not so easy. And it was hard because we had such a variety of things. I say we'd had a Mozart thing. I'm not sure it was in there. We'd had to remove a few of them because there were too many to use. But I learned all of them. They told me to. And I went up to the mountains, up to, I think it was Arrowhead, one of the places, took a little cabin, and I worked all day long just with a recording machine, lifting the arm and putting it down, up and down, and singing this, and this, and looking at the sheet music and playing her record. And so I just got so they were second nature. I worked my tail off, but I knew them so well I could do them in my sleep. And I just loved them because I always loved opera. And I didn't have the ability to be an opera singer ever, or a singer. But I did have perfect pitch and perfect ear for music. So that was very helpful. Otherwise, I couldn't have done the job that I did. And I didn't like it when most people would say, or critics would say, I did a good job of mouthing the words to the music. I sang full blast. I grew around my rib cage, the diaphragm, your tummy, the diaphragm going in and out is where you should speak from, which I do, and talk from. Most people maybe talk from their throat or their nose or something, but you speak from down here. And all you sing, of course, all opera singers sing down there. And I grew 3/4 of an inch larger through the rib cage, which was difficult because I had to keep letting the costumes out a little bit through the rib cage. Because if they'd done it on me before, I developed it so to become more or less like an opera singer. They're big, usually a little heftier. They're very, very few skinny opera singers. And I wasn't a fat person ever, but I did develop a big diaphragm. Eileen was a heavy woman, but she had a great voice. I don't think they can have this tone and so much power if they're too thin. They don't have the instrument in their body to make this sound. They're using their body for these sounds.
Oh, the same goes for male opera singers.
Yes, of course. I never saw one who was very good, the one I loved. How was the name is slipping my mind, that just died not too long ago. The man.
Pavarotti.
Oh, Pavarotti. Pavarotti. It's Pavarotti. Everybody calls it by the wrong thing, I think. But anyway, he was so wonderful. Wonderful. I just loved him so. But he was heavy.
Of course.
Of course, the better ones who were thinner maybe, I don't think would measure up to him. I thought he was tremendous.
Were there any other challenges associated with interrupted melody?
Challenges? Well, I had to ride a horse pretty well, and I had to jump on a horse that went into a fire. Well, it wasn't a real fire. They trained the horse to go, just I used to take horse riding lessons anyway when I was a kid. So I've been on horses. My grandmother had a farm where I rode a horse. But anyway, I'm not a great rider or anything, but I did ride in the thing. And I'm not show material.
I think Glenn Ford should have been very, very, very grateful to you.
No, he never said a word to me.
Really?
No.
Well, the movie saved his career.
Yes, that did. It saved his whole career because they went to the Russians and they liked him so that they thought right away of the
Blackboard Jungle.
Blackboard Jungle. They were trying to cast it, and they said, "Hey, he would be good." And I wouldn't have seen him or thought of him otherwise because there's the cowboy movie stuff. And he was, as you said, down. I wouldn't have said it. You already told me. Because his career was on the rocks.
Yes, it was.
And I just thought, well, he can. It's not the leading role, but it's a nice role, a very nice role, I think. And I thought if he plays it honestly the way he can play, he doesn't always play that as a cowboy, of course, and he played it very honestly. I thought he did a great job.
Yes, and your scenes together are excellent.
Yes, I think they are. We worked on it. I don't know how he often works because he always did these cowboy pictures, and I didn't know him that well. I didn't know how he was to work with, but he's a little. Oh, I hate to say anything nasty.
No.
But he's a little,
temperamental?
Well, a little, you'd call it that, but it isn't that. It's just, he'll upstage you, keep walking away and upstage you till your back's to the camera. And people were saying to me, he's upstaging you. And I said, don't worry about it. The director will notice what he's doing, and he'll tell him if he wants to tell him. I'm not going to turn my back on him and do the same thing to him. I'm going to play to him. Don't worry. If he moves me all around the room, I won't care. The director's not an idiot. And if they get themselves in a bind, they'll have to come around and take a close-up of me. If he gets himself in a spot. So that's all right. Don't you worry about the hairdresser. And everybody was coming to me and saying, don't let him upstage you. I said, what's the difference? I'm not going to say don't upstage me. I don't care. I can do it in any direction. But so he would say, for instance, when they want him to get out of a taxi cab or something, instead of staying in there, he said, no, I want to be in here, but I want her to come out and have to put her face, and my face has to come here and here. He wanted him, he always was worrying about his close-ups, and he wouldn't do it in the car because he wanted to step out so his face could be seen well. Things like that. And there were a lot of other little things I won't even mention, but he's so worried about being seen in the right way that he wants. That was the main thing he was talking about all the time. Have you got me here, and I don't work that way. I don't think about. I think that's the job of the director and the cameraman and everybody else. Of course, I know where I am. I know where I should be, and they have enough footage, for heaven's sakes, to cover it. I don't worry about that part.
I seem to remember that my recent guest, Ernest Borgnine, verified your comments about Glenn Ford. Glenn Ford, by the way, is another actor you worked with many times.
Yeah.
Ford never.
He was deceptive, though. That rascal.
In what way?
He said one time we were going along with our director in Jubal, and we're walking along this road, and he's smoking a cigar, and he said, I don't know. He said, I don't know. I'm just worried stiff. And we both looked at him and I said, were you worried about what? He said, I'm worried about him, Ernie. I said, what are you worried about me for? Really, I didn't know what to say. And he said, I'm worried about you. You're an Academy Award winner and everything. I said, please, that was for one picture. We're working on a thing called Jubal.
Well, that's my show for today. DVD Classics Corner on the Air is conceived, written, produced, and directed by me, Double D. So,
keep well, keep happy, and keep listening.